Well, Jimmy,
Hi, Mike.
Davos.
That was something.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You and I sat here for the last few minutes, and I thought, okay, let's throw the camera on, have a chat about this, and see
Yes, sir.
what will happen when
Mhm.
we share our thoughts on this. Because our thoughts on what happened at Davos are pretty similar, and I think many people are sharing
Yeah.
the same opinion. Can I read what I was going to send you about this topic?
Do tell, Mike,
I
please.
was, I like to read my emails that I don't send to anybody on this show. Here's
Is
one of
that
them
from
to
the
you.
movie The Office? You know, where they
Yeah, it's you know what? Just send it to me, Mike. I would rather read
Office
it than
Space, yeah.
Okay, here's what I said. Hey, Jim. Well, the world feels like it's fraying. The people at Davos looked oddly serene, don't you think? Almost certain. Were we watching leadership or a self-appointed global priesthood waiting for a new world order? That was my tinfoil hat sort of first
Well, it's a bit of both.
blush at this, right?
Okay, it's approximately 65 heads of state, 800 plus CEOs,
Yeah.
75% of the Fortune 500 companies, and Mark Carney's great speech about the New World Order and middle powers. But the main three topics for the assembled rich, uber rich power brokers was AI, energy, and geopolitics.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all power. Those are all power items now.
Power
right?
items. And it leads into what you're saying. And we've seen some evidence post Davos, the disturbing revelations from the Epstein file dump of all these uber rich people. The Jeff Bezos, who's worth approximately $260 billion,
Bill Gates.
gutting
Yeah.
the Washington Post today.
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah. How many people got let go?
A third of the staff, the sports department, gone. The Washington Post is one of the foundational papers in America.
That was a disturbing bit of news this morning. And I know every time that happens, we lose our connection to real information.
Yes.
That's kind of why what we do is important, because Jeff Bezos, I'm pretty sure, is not going to buy us. In fact, I don't think anybody is. We're going to just continue and have real conversations. I think that's where we're starting to lose them. When the power brokers of the world start to buy the media, they start to threaten the media, block the media. And that happens at the White House. That happens here in Canada. We experience.
I read just something this morning that George Clooney turned down a 2-movie deal because they wanted to put a clause in his contract to never say anything political or controversial while he's doing media. He's like, no, thank you. I don't need that, he says.
Yeah.
And I'll just say what I want. If I don't agree with it or I want something to say, I have the right to say it. But the uber rich, these super crazy billionaires are like, this is my toy.
Yeah.
I bought it. You do this or you just lose your job and I don't care.
You know, as we talk about the uber rich and the Davos experience, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of, why the WEF is so important to the wealthy and so useless to humanity. It supports technocracy over humanity.
Right.
It's data driven. How do we get more from people? How do we give less to people? They talk about housing and nourishment, yet they all stay in luxury hotels that are, posh and elite. We watch our very own prime minister from the past arrive like a ghost. I don't know why Trudeau was at Davos, except that he's probably interested in what
He had a paid speech.
Oh, that's why.
I think he had a paid speech at one of the forums.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you're bang on, Mike.
Yeah.
We are in not just a Canadian, but a world society. The struggle to pay rent, feed your family, stay warm, basic human needs. It's becoming a struggle. And then you're looking at young people with all these mental health issues because they're feeling the sense of hopelessness. Can I ever buy a home? Can I get a decent job? Can I get ahead? And then you see this, and the disparity is widening. It's always been wide, Mike, but it's so wide now.
I think that if you ask the youth of today, what has got you stressed, they're going to tell you the environment and my future financially, because look at the WEF that has all the power and all the money and no democracy associated with it necessarily. It's a threat to sovereignty. We saw that.
Yeah.
Davos revealed so much, that there was going to be a new power structure in this world.
The New World Order.
The New World Order, which we heard our own prime minister say twice in a matter of seconds. Having said that, this New World Order really became apparent in things like this cockamamie board of peace, for example.
It's a sham, a complete sham.
You know, we heard Mark Carney give an outstanding speech that basically said, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board, which, I mean, honestly, that's what the speech amounted to.
But if you look at Trump's actions on an hourly, daily basis, how could you not think that? How could you be a reasonable leader of a reasonable country and not look and how he's treating everyone and dealing with everyone and think, okay, we're going to have to come up with a different solution to this problem right now, because until the problem goes away, we still have to take care of our people.
I thought it was a little frightening, by the way. I don't know if you felt this. Like, I don't know that we're in a position to be poking at the U.S., to be honest with you, Jim. Like, we're right next door to them. They've been our largest trading partner and continue to be. And here we are at Davos saying, well, the U.S. is no longer going to be, we're no longer going to be able to deal in that structure and that model. We're going to have a middle powers alliance, a new world order.
Okay, I looked at it this way. Okay, bully in the schoolyard. You're going to do that? Fine. I'm going to do this, this, and this. I don't care what you do, and I don't care how you treat me. I got my 5 or 6 group of friends, and 5 or 6 of us together are stronger together, and we're going to figure it out.
Oh, yeah, Lang? You better hope that your mom's here right at 3 o'clock today, okay?
With her minivan.
Yeah. Like, I don't know that we're in that position. Like, I mean, honorably, and, you know, did I love the speech? Did I feel a sense of pride in being Canadian that I haven't felt in a long time? Yeah, when that was delivered. However, the message in there is frightening.
Oh, yeah,
we have to create new alliances that don't have anything to do with the U.S. A few days later, you know, we have Trump saying, if you're going to do business with China, you're going to have a problem with us. 100% tariff within minutes.
It's hard to believe and understand and comprehend what's coming out of Trump's mouth right now. But the urgent need to build pipelines to BC, to renovate and rehabilitate the Churchill Portlands in Manitoba and build a pipeline there and ship liquid natural gas and oil to Europe, to Asia, and bring in revenue from other parts of the world is more important now than ever before.
No, I agree with you. I think that's the notion that we have to do it, I think, was what we heard for the first time from our prime minister and from other leaders from other nations saying, yeah, you know what, standing ovation for Carney was, you know, 100% proof that, yeah, the world is kind of tired of Trump's behavior in the economic realm. And now we have to forge a new way. It was just disturbing to me that we're forging a new way with what seems like a mishmash of non-democratically elected people controlling from the top so much.
I don't disagree with you, Mike. How do we get around it? Because it's getting worse. They've done studies and they're looking at the 6, 7 richest people in the world over the last 10 years, and their wealth has not just gone up a little bit, it's gone up exponentially.
I mean, I remember when Elon Musk was a millionaire. He's a trillionaire officially as of yesterday.
Right. You have music artists like Beyonce and Taylor Swift who are legit billionaires.
Okay, so
but think of the scope of,
I'll give it to them.
You know, and at the Gap, you'll have kids who are saving money for months to see a Taylor Swift or Beyonce concert, and they're billionaires. So the really rich of the world, the truly wealthy, it's just getting more. They're acquiring more. They have more.
They're acquiring more of our democracy, if you think about it, right?
Well, the press, social media, paying for votes,
even climate policy.
Yeah.
You know, how digital ID systems that take advantage of where we are, and like all of these various technologies they talked about.
Apple Wallet. How often do you use Apple Wallet? I use it daily.
Constantly. Yeah.
And is that not tracking our purchases?
I'm using yours. What?
Yeah, but does that not track your purchases every day?
It tracks where you're sitting right now, and it doesn't like that you're near me. But the digital ID systems,
that's not going away.
No, and that actually puts us into social rankings potentially.
Right.
Sorts us. It's very disturbing. And then the other one that I wrote down was public-private partnerships. So now all of these huge corporate entities are entering each other's countries with deals that are outstanding, meant to support the countries, but at the same time, Jim, that's where there's no vote. So if we decide, if somebody at the federal end decides that we're going to bring in a Chinese company to buy one of our major mines for a very discounted price, it's just going to happen. Oh, it did. It's going to happen.
So a word about public-private partnerships. For people who don't live in Toronto, finally, after 15 years, on Sunday, February the 8th, the Eglinton Light Rapid Transit will open up.
Sure it will, Jim.
The public-private partnership, years and years past its due date, billions over budget, and apparently they have extra TTC buses on standby in case it doesn't work.
Oh my good Lord. Okay, here's my prediction on this one.
When they hit the switch? Yeah. So, no, I don't disagree, because the public paying for everything, they're at the point where they have to tap out, like, we don't have the money. So let's have a partnership with a private entity, and then they pool our money together and it gets built. But then the oversight, if it's a private company, and
if it takes 16 years, that's I'm sorry, is my math wrong? That's 4 terms in office.
Right.
Who's watching these guys?
Well, right. Think of all the mayors that have gone through. So you had David Miller, Rob Ford, John Tory, and now Olivia Chow. Yeah. All mayors of Toronto till it was done.
It's too bad that Olivia Chow is at the front of that train, actually, because it might have delivered sooner. That's just my own personal opinion. The other thing that came out of Davos that I thought was kind of frightening was how untouchable these leaders are. But not even just that. They were there with how many investment bankers? How many financial? Hundreds and
thousands.
Hundreds. That it was a money conference. Let's remember that.
They don't pay so we pay as Canadians your tax, your maybe a HST, like, the GST tax. Yeah. You're paying tax on this and tax on that. When your parent dies, you have to pay a burial tax and all this. But these super rich people are so rich, they have all these tax havens that they're paying either nothing or next to nothing.
It's so funny that it's in Davos, which is, probably a tax haven. I mean,
of course, it's Switzerland,
right? So
why are all the major banks there?
I hate the idea that it was a forum for filibustering for Trump. Everybody hated that notion of it. However, it was very revealing in many ways about how disjointed his thinking is, how overpowered he feels he is, how much military he has behind him to push his agenda. Where everybody else was talking money, finance, and trade, he was talking force of power.
Like a bully.
Like a bully.
Like a bully. So you had the other world leaders and CEOs talking like responsible, sober business people, trying to work deals together. Hey, let's do this together. Let's work together. You make money, I make money, everyone's happy. Instead of always trying to win and get one over on the next person.
Yeah, but then Shrek walks in the room and everybody else there is like, oh, okay, we'll talk about our organization later. Mr. Trump, President Trump. I honestly did not. I mean, a couple of world leaders kind of shied away, but when it comes down to it, they still are a superpower.
They're a superpower. There's no question,
and there aren't many of them.
There are not many of them, but the damage, I still say the damage being done over the last few months to all these other countries and all these other middle and middle to big power countries is going to take a long time. So say, for sake of argument, the next election, it's J.D. Vance against whomever for the Democrats, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
And, if you're an American, God forbid, J.D. Vance wins. So whomever is the next president, even if it's Gavin Newsom, they're going to have to spend half their first administration repairing the damage, not even doing deals.
Yeah, I would imagine that J.D. Vance wouldn't do much different, to be honest with you. He seems to go along for the ride. But whoever does come in, and this is something that I think we're seeing Carney have to deal with now, and it was at the WEF that became apparent. Just a week after, we start seeing the Bank of Canada saying we can't do much with the rates because we don't have the right reporting from the results of CRA cutbacks. The planning and the budget that was presented to us seems to be mishmashed on old projects, and we're having a hard time changing the interest rates because there's something going on with the budget. And so we're not seeing progress. At the same time, what we're seeing is Canada positioning itself to be an organizer in this realm. I'm a little concerned about that. And I think that probably a lot of Canadians are. Okay, well, look, it's nice that you're a world leader, but here at home, we're feeling effects.
Oh, without question. And so here we are in early February. The next 2 to 3 months will be very telling how things play out in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
If they make that deal to build those Saab fighter jets in Quebec, that's a lot of jobs. If they actually cut a deal to build that pipeline to BC to ship heavy crude to South Korea and Japan and other Asian countries, that's good for the economy. And maybe those kind of dominoes, economic dominoes falling down, spurn the Bank of Canada, go, you know what, things are trending in the right direction. We're going to drop the interest rates from the current 2.25 to maybe even under 2.
The new arrangements that we're making out there in the world include dealing with China. How do you think Canadians overall feel about us dealing with China?
I think they have mixed feelings, but here's what I know. Buying things right now are really expensive. When you drive a car lot from a car dealership now, the storage where they have all the new cars is packed.
Yeah.
If they're able to sell electric vehicles, Chinese-made electric vehicles, at between $25,000 and $30,000 in Canadian money, well, that's something that people can afford, as opposed to 50, 60, 80,000.
What about the ramifications with our trade partners?
At the end of the day, and I understand that in the big picture, the average Canadian family wants affordable, reliable transportation. They want to be able to put food on the table.
We've watched China infiltrate our economy here in Canada pretty severely. I mean, if Dennis Molinaro, you spoke with him, I mean, they have literally permeated the infrastructure of our financial system in many ways.
You name me a country where China doesn't have some kind of hand in what's going on around the world. The iPhone's made in China.
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
No,
Don't pressure me, but you're right. And I think, but there is this animosity between the U.S. and China.
Okay, yeah.
That makes this link between the communist countries and Putin. And actually, I wonder if Canadians, I do feel a little concerned at times that we are pushing too far too fast, when Trump might just be, we just need him to cool down, or somebody to, the courts in the U.S. to catch up with all of this and just kind of proceed cautiously for the moment. For the first time ever, as a Canadian, I'm agreeing with the Canadian philosophy of proceeding cautiously. We seem to be moving very quickly. There's already been a purchase of a mine.
But I mean, the cars, the selling of the cars,
steel deals
is okay. That's fine. But the one thing that came out of the car deal is it opened up the markets for the canola and the farm products. And that's huge for the Western Canadian farmers. That's tens of billions of dollars.
Right. No, that's a great win. So, I mean, I think that it's like this. There's no trade-offs really in this. Yeah, there's trade-offs, but there's no win-win scenarios. There's only trade-offs in many scenarios in global politics and finance.
So think about this. So Stephen Harper this week, they're unveiling his portrait.
By the way, that portrait looks amazing.
Oh, fantastic. Included his cat. First time they had a pet.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, Stanley after the Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
You know, we're thinking back at 20th anniversary of being elected and his relationship with Bush and his relationship with Obama. And there was no question the U.S. was the superpower in charge. Yeah. But as a Canadian, you never felt threatened that they were looking over your shoulder to take over the country.
Right.
Now that's a reality now. So it's forced people to do things maybe they wouldn't think of doing 3 or 4 years ago. Like, wait a second, this guy won't stop talking about annexing the country, taking over the country, 51st state, trying to crush us with tariffs. Fine, then we'll cut deals with other countries, whether you like it or not, because we as Canadians will find a way to survive.
Davos was a really good amplification of that in my mind, because all of these countries sat there and they had to acknowledge, okay, we have to do something that works better for us, even if that means eliminating the U.S. to some degree from our trade arrangements and working closer with one another. I wonder how much of that scared the living shit out of the finance crowd that was there. I mean, the basis for financial systems in the world is about to change. We did hear about a new world order.
Well, look at crypto. What's happened in crypto lately? Right? And you had world leaders from Italy and Finland, all these countries pushing back against Trump and the U.S. administration saying, we will not be dealt with that way.
Right.
And so I don't know how the world financial markets would not react to that.
Do you think coming out, and the other thing that I noticed was as Davos is going on, different political leaders are being approached by media and things like that.
Yeah.
They all pretty much had the same, outside of the US, had the same playbook. We're going to have to deal together. We're going to have to deal together.
Yeah.
And so if there is a new world order, I mean, I dare say that Trump has pushed it into play. And I hope, as many Canadians do, that being part of that club doesn't get us beat up because we're the kid next door.
And it's a very valid point, and that is an ongoing concern. There's no question, Mike, it's a delicate balance for Carney and whomever is in power in Canada to not completely piss off the Americans, but understand the reality. If they're going to be openly trying to take us over, that we will cut deals with other countries to keep our sovereignty, to save the way of life that we enjoy.
Sovereignty was another big issue at Davos. You could feel it in the air, and many comments revolved around, Greenland, of course, at the time, or Iceland, whichever one he decided to take. But the middle powers, as now it's being viewed, sat there saying, no, that's not how we do business, and we will not allow that. Meanwhile, he's created this board of peace, and as you recall, the countries on that.
Oh, it's like who's who of the worst countries in the world.
And not only that, but most of them, the U.S. doesn't even accept visas from.
Half of them are not allowed. The citizens aren't allowed in America. Think about that.
So, you saw this triumvirate of evil being created over here, and what are meant to be the good guys, the underdogs over here. I wonder how that's going to play out between now and the next time WEF meets.
And here's the other problem. You can't discount this. With all the sick revelations from the Epstein files and all the photos and emails that Trump is named in and shown in, this is where people are saying that he's going to be doing crazy things to distract the public and the media from what's going on with ICE, what's going on with Epstein. Hey, I did this, look at this, and that changes the news cycle.
The guy is on the brink of what I think might be a civil war in his own country.
Right.
Which I think he wouldn't really mind, because then he can put the whole country under a state of emergency and not even have an election again until it all gets straightened out. Meanwhile, that would take several years. It's a well-armed country. And the rest of the world would probably have to deal with them using the military on themselves, which we're already seeing evidence of. He's got to distract from that. This Epstein's thing, every single day with 3 million files sitting out there just drop.
It gets worse and worse and more disturbing.
Deeper and deeper. And then the connections to these world powers that have all this money. Everybody from Elon Musk to Bill Gates, to the
who's who of the and now it got to the point.
That weirdo Peter Nygaard.
Well, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton will testify in Congress to congressional hearings.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the general public completely understands the scope of this, how deep it goes, how long it's been happening. And
it happens at that level of the people
of the uber rich. Yeah. They're the people that buy out other CEOs and other companies and go from being worth $5 billion to like a Jeff Bezos who's 260 plus billion.
Yeah.
Or Elon Musk is a trillionaire.
Dumb, medium, rich, powerful political people are easily inflated by money. And we're going to see evidence of that all over the place. And you could smell that at Davos. And what I hope is that this group that we are going to start to deal with from the middle powers has good ethics, has good intention, has a solid method of dealing with the finance structures and deals between these countries and the taxation that makes it possible to work, and the seaways to get things done, and the pipelines to make it all work.
Yeah.
I hope that all happens in time, but I have a feeling before all that happens, Trump will be gone.
And either passing away, pushed out from an impeachment, or just voted out.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what, we'll do a little pool after the show, but I don't think it's tasteful to do it during the show. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Subscribe, tell a friend. If you like this episode, that's fantastic. If you didn't, also great. Keep us honest. Keep the conversation going. Thanks. We'll see you next time.
Go Canada, go.